Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel Tech Chat. Today I'm going to talk about a very important lesson. This is about DNS. Okay, what is DNS? The DNS is domain name system. So guys, if you search on YouTube, you can't see many videos about DNS and you can't get a full idea about DNS using that videos. So today I made this video for you to understand basic of DNS. So my DNS video series to learn you what is DNS and how to configure DNS. So after the final video of my series, you will understand how to configure a DNS server. So then you will be able to manage your DNS server. So if you are a IT guy, if not you are wishing to work on IT industry, so you can easily configure things related to DNS. So that's why this DNS video series is very important. Okay, so there are so many things to talk about DNS, but I will talk about DNS with very simple points. So these simple points will make easy for you to understand DNS. Okay, I will say like this: without DNS, internet will not work. It means you can't access any websites or application over the internet, and also you can't send emails over the internet, and your domain will not be safe. Attackers can use your domain and destroy reputation of your company. So basically, today I'm going to talk about the first point: internet will not work without DNS. Okay, so let's have a look on that examples. As I mentioned earlier, without DNS, internet will not work. So how is that? What is DNS? The many guys have not heard about DNS, but they are already using internet. So then, how can they use internet? Guys, although you don't know about the DNS, if you are reaching the internet, you are you are using the DNS. So without DNS, you can't do it. Okay, let's say I need to access youtube.com. Then I type web address on my browser and press enter. Then if I have internet connectivity, it will reach youtube.com. But internet does not identify human readable web address. Oh no, it only identify public IP address. So guys, that is the point. Internet does not identify human readable web address like youtube.com, facebook.com, google.com, but internet identify only public IP address. If you don't know about the public IP address, please go and watch my networking video series, and there is a video under that video series about private IP addresses and public IP addresses. Okay, then how it is reached to youtube.com even we don't type public IP address. As I mentioned, internet does not identify human readable web address, but why it is reached to youtube.com even I type youtube.com. So that's the point. We have come to the point. Even we type youtube.com, DNS will translate this web address to relevant public IP address. That's how DNS helps to reach internet. Guys, one thing to say that the youtube.com is the web address, but guys, this youtube.com hosted on some server. So it means when you type youtube.com, the DNS help to convert the relevant public IP address of that web server. So then it will reach the youtube.com. So that conversion is done by DNS. Okay. So which DNS server will do this conversion? It is a very good question. Anyone who accesses the internet has a responsible DNS server for their support. But what? So someone will think, I have not seen any DNS server on my configuration on my Windows machine. So then how a DNS server comes and help me to reach the internet? Yeah, you have access internet without knowing this. Let's say you have a Wi-Fi router which you use to access internet. Simply, your router, if not your internet service provider, is your DNS server. That's the point. It means that conversion is done by your internet service provider. Guys, you access internet using a Wi-Fi router. So it means that you don't see about the DNS conversion. That conversion is done by always your internet service provider, if not your router. So As I mentioned in networking video series, if you are connecting with the router, so your gateway is router. So after router, the internet service provider will provide you access to the internet. So that's how you reach the internet. So then how I can see relevant configuration on my computer? Yes, that's a very good point. So if router help us to read the get the DNS conversion, so that DNS server configuration should be in my computer, should be in my Windows configuration. So okay, let's see how to find the relevant DNS configuration. Okay, this is the part. Go control panel, network and internet, network sharing center, and on right hand side you can see Wi-Fi symbol. So it means here I'm connecting with the Wi-Fi router. So click on that symbol. After click on that symbol, you can see relevant DNS configuration. So here this is a capture from my configuration. So you can see DHCP enable. DHCP means that the router will assign IP automatically to your computer. So my range is 192.168.8.0/24. It is my subnet, and so I have taken the IP address of 192.168.8.199. Okay, so if you come to the bottom of this, you can see your default gateway. The route IP is 192.168.8.1, and also your IPv4 DNS server I have highlighted with highlighted it here. So it is same to the default gateway IP. It is 192.168.8.1. It means that your router is always your DNS server. So this is how you can see the relevant DNS server on your Windows computer. So let's have a live look. I will come out from this slide. So search on your Windows as control panel. Okay, presenter, and go control panel and network and internet and network sharing center. So guys, you can see on right hand side my internet connection is Wi-Fi. So I click on it and I go details, and you can see my IPv4 address is 192.168.8.199, and my default gateway is my route IP, and also it is same to my DNS server IP. So that's how you can find your DNS server. So if you are getting internet from your internet service provider, always it may be your route IP, it may be not, it may be, it is always your router IP. Okay. Okay guys, let's go back to slides. Okay, so I have to show something more, because the DNS server address, how did I get DNS server IP address? I got DNS server IP address as my router IP. So let's have a look where I can change my DNS server. So if we are getting internet from a router, so router always help us to provide the DNS service. That's why automatically assign route IP as the DNS server IP. So but as we are the owner of the computer, we can change the DNS server. So on my computer, current configuration is DHCP configuration. So then the IPv4 address automatically assigned, and also DNS server address automatically assigned. But I can change only DNS server address. So I will show you that configuration part. Okay. I will come back to the control panel, network and internet, and network and sharing center. So click on Wi-Fi symbol and go on properties and select internet protocol version for TCP IPv4 and go properties. And you can see obtain DNS server address automatically. So that's why the route IP was assigned on my computer. Okay guys, as I mentioned here, so this conversion is done by the DNS server. So here my DNS server is my route IP. If I reach youtube.com, there is a relevant public IP address. So my DNS server help to convert this human readable web address to a public IP address. It means youtube.com convert to the relevant public IP address. So as I mentioned earlier, internet identify only public IP address. So it means in application and web server, we reach of the internet has a public IP address. Okay, I will show you that how the conversion happen. I will open command line prompt, search for CMD on your search bar and press enter. So now I will pin to the youtube.com. Pin is a pin used to check the connectivity with any server. So I will talk about pin on my networking video series. So don't worry about that. So remember that pin is used to check the connectivity. Okay, I will type pin youtube.com and press enter. Okay guys, you can see that reply from 142.250.76.174. So it means the public IP address of youtube.com is 142.250.76.174. That conversion was done by my router. Okay. Okay guys, uh, let's go back to the slides. Okay, so this is the capture summary. So I read the youtube.com and reply came from a public IP address. So this is the public IP address of youtube.com. So I think now you understood what is this conversion. So if you type a web address on your browser, remember that internet does not identify the web addresses, the human readable web names, but it converts a public IP address by DNS. Then it reads the relevant web sites. Okay, so that's how conversion happen. Remember that point. Okay, now I'm going to verify whether this conversion is done by my internet service provider. Oh, that's a very good point, guys. So I'm going to verify that whether this conversion is done by my internet service provider. So I will change DNS server IP to a unknown one, and then internet should not work. Yes, that's a very good point. So now the DNS service is provided by my computer. So if I change to the that server IP address to an unknown address, it means the conversion is not happen. So it means if I change it to unknown IP address, I can't reach youtube.com. So let's check it. So then we are sure, we are confirmed that this conversion is done by this my router. Okay. Okay. I will close it. I will close this also. I need to show it back. So I will click on Wi-Fi symbol, go on properties and select Internet Protocol version TCP IPv4 and go properties. Okay, so here obtain DNS server address automatically. That's why DNS server was become as the router IP. So I will change to an unknown IP address 192.168.171.1. So I will press OK, then close and go to the details, and you can see these configurations changes. So now my DNS IP is not route IP, it is unknown IP address. So it means that now I should not be able to read the youtube.com. Okay guys. Okay guys, now you can see that I can't reach youtube.com. Pin youtube.com and reply is not coming the public IP address. It means I can't read the youtube.com because this conversion was done by my router, but now it is an unknown IP address. So it means I don't have a DNS server to do the conversion. So I can't read the youtube.com. Let's have a look on browser also and go back to the browser and type youtube.com and press enter. Okay, server not found. Okay, that's a very good point. And I will come back and I will go back to the properties and I will select Internet Protocol version TCP IPv4, go properties, and I change back to the DNS server address automatically. Press OK and close this, and now you can refresh this. Let's have a look. and I will open CMD also. So I will do a pin. Yes, now reply is coming. So my internet connection is something. It's slow now. So that's why the browser is not loading. But reply is coming from the public IP address. So now you are confirmed. Okay, this is loading. No problem. Now you are sure that internet is reach. The DNS conversion is done by the my router. So I need to show something else. I will come back to my configuration and I will go back to properties and select TCP IPv4. Go to properties and I will select it and change the IP address to a unknown IP address back. So it means I will be unable to read the internet again. Yes. Now it is unknown IP address. It means DNS conversion is not happened. So I will pin back. Okay, so it is not reached the youtube.com. So guys, now I am trying to teach you what are the order of DNS conversion is done on my computer. Actually guys, if we have a computer, let's say I have the Windows computer, so when I type youtube.com on my browser, computer first try to reach host file. There is a location and there is configuration location. We call it a host file. It's a notepad file, and the my browser first will ask the DNS conversion from that host file. Then it will ask from the network configuration on my computer, where from this control panel, network and network sharing center. So from this configuration part, my browser will ask what is the relevant public IP address. So remember that this is not the first contact point. So any computer, any server first ask from the computer host file, do you have relevant public IP address? So guys, what is host file? Actually, uh, you I think if you don't know about the your DNS configuration, you never know about the host file. Actually guys, that is the DNS order. So if I type youtube.com on my browser, it will first ask from the host file, then it asks from the DNS server configured on my computer. From this place, control panel, network and internet, and network and sharing center, and from my internet connectivity, then my router will say, okay, this is your public IP address. So let's have a look on host file. Okay, I can't remember the exact location, so I will type Windows 10 host file location. So you no need to remember each and everything. You have the internet connectivity. Actually, sorry guys, I have to change back to the, so that's why okay, properties, and I will change it to the automatically, and I will come back to the browser and I will refresh it. Okay, so this is the location. I will just copy it and come back to the command line prompt, and I will open it using notepad. But one thing, I can't edit it without administrative view of command prompt. So I will close it. So I will search for CMD and I will right click on it and run as administrator. Okay, now type notepad and paste the location. Okay, so now you can see my host file record. Actually, host file is some configuration we can manually add the DNS record. So guys, when you read the internet, you reach there are lots of websites applications. So it means you can't manually add each and every relevant public IP address and web address on your host file. So it means host file used to manually add the some DNS record. So here you can see some examples. There is a public IP address and a web address. So this is example actually. So here there is a hash mark. So it means this is not work. This is we have comment this. So like this we can add records for any websites. So as I did here, I will change it back to unknown web address. So comes to TCP IPv and go to properties and change it to an unknown IP address 192.168.171.1 and press OK. So this is my now my DNS server has not configured because there is a unknown address. Okay guys, now if I try to reach youtube.com, I can't reach it. Okay, I will type youtube.com and press enter. Okay, I'm not getting the reply from it. Okay guys, don't worry. Now I will say how can we use host file to add DNS record. So as I mentioned earlier, my browser first asks from the host file. So if there is a relevant DNS record, it takes from the host file. Then it will ask from the DNS server configured on my computer. So in host file you can see there is no any record for any web address. But now here if my computer asks from my host file, there is no record from youtube.com. Then my browser asks from my DNS server, but there is a unknown DNS server. It means I can't reach youtube.com. So I'm going to show you that this is the correct order. So I will add a manual record for youtube.com. Okay, I will go back to my slides. So this is the IP address and web address. So I will copy it and come back to my host file and paste it, and I will save it. So it means now I have added a manual record for youtube.com. As you observed earlier, this is the correct public IP address for the youtube.com. So it means, as I said, order is my browser. When I type youtube.com on my browser first asks from the host file. So if there is a relevant record, it does not ask again from my DNS server. It takes the record same as on host file, then read the relevant public IP address. So now as the first contact point of is the host file. The order is first ask from the host file, then from the DNS server. Now I don't have a correct DNS server, so only option is adding a manual record on host file. So I have done it. So when my browser asks from the host file, okay, there is a record for youtube.com. So this is the public IP address. Please go to this public IP address. Let's have a look. Will this work? So if this works, it means we are confirmed that this is the correct. So I will save it and I will close it. Okay guys, I will come back to the command line prompt and I will pin youtube.com. So reply is coming from the correct public IP address, because as I mentioned earlier, my computer first asks from my host file, then it asks from the DNS server. Even though I don't have a correct DNS server because I changed it to an unknown IP address, the order is first contact point is Windows host file, then DNS server. So my computer first asks from my host file. Okay, there is a record for the youtube.com. That's why I was able to read the youtube.com. If I try to reach facebook.com, I will be unable, because my computer first asks from host file. There is no record for facebook.com. Then ask from my DNS server. Unfortunately, I change it to the unknown IP address. It means I don't have a DNS server, so it will not reach the facebook.com. Let's have a look. Okay guys, you can't reach facebook.com. So that is the order. So that is a very important point. I need to teach you this very important point. Okay guys, let's go back to my slides. Okay, I need to go correct location. So this is how I change the DNS server to unknown IP address. So then I was unable to access youtube.com. But as I said, the computer first asked from the host file, then asked from the DNS server. So I went to the host file location. So it was C drive, Windows, System 32, driver, etc host. I could not remember it. Don't worry about that, things like that. So then we have internet. So I search on my browsers and then I got the correct location. And this is the location. So then I open a CMD and type notepad and this location, because this is a notepad. I open this with the notepad file. Then I add the manual record for youtube.com. Here you can see public IP address, space, and web address youtube.com. So then I have a manual record. So then I uh, then I uh, then I pinned to youtube.com and it was success. But I tried to reach facebook.com. I pinned, but it was not success. It means that there was no record on host file. So then it asked from the DNS server. Unfortunately, I changed it to a known IP address. So then there was no conversion for facebook.com. So that's why I could not read the facebook.com. Okay, guys. So similarly, on the Linux, you can add you can add host record on this location. This is easy to remember. etc host. Open with the vi editor. So then you can add record as you wish. Actually, I know I need to say one thing. So normally we don't configure the host file because we have to add million and billion of DNS record if we use the host file. Then why there is a host file? So actually, if we reach our private network, if we need to reach servers using host name within our private network, you know that, guys, there is no private public IP address within private network. So then on that situation, we have to add manual records because it is within private network and only the members within private network identify that private IPs. So as I explained in network video series, private IPs are not open to public. So that's why we have to add manual records within our private network. So that's why host file is very important. So you can see these things on future videos. Okay, guys, so that's what I needed to teach you about DNS. I think you have understood what what I tried to teach you. So basically, from today video, you understand what is DNS with a very simple example. So it's about the public IP address conversion. So that is not all of DNS. There are so many things we will talk on next video. So you learn how DNS conversion happen for when accessing internet. So and also you learned about a part of the DNS order. First my computer asked from my Windows host file, then asked from the configured DNS server. So there are some other parts of the DNS order, DNS hierarchy. So we will talk about them in future videos. Don't worry, guys. So please share this video. If you have any problem, please comment on comment bar, and also please follow my Facebook page, and you can contact me if you need to know anything. So there is a email address on my description, and also mobile number, and please subscribe my YouTube channel and watch other video series also. So thank you very much. I will come back with a new video. Thank you.